Hey everybody, happy hump day. We're all here, we all made it. It's almost the middle of the day, on the middle of most of your work weeks, and we're almost halfway done. So today, I just wanted to briefly talk about details. Deanna and I used to work at Bridgestone here in Warren County. At the plant, we built semi-truck tires. You know, them great big ones, 22-inch, 24s, the big ones. Wide base. We always hated wide base. Had to hand carry a lot of stuff. But that wide base is on your big dumps and your big heavy trucks. But now, you know, think about this. Take a moment, think how many times you're in your car and you're usually in a 12-foot wide interstate lane or 4-lane highway, and that big old truck, he's in a 12-foot wide lane. But here's the kicker. Your car's about 6 foot wide. That truck is, I think, somewhere around 8.5 foot wide. Your car weighs 3,500 pounds. A fully loaded semi truck weighs 80,000 pounds or more. But you know, most of them max weight I think is going to be about 80,000. So Kelly Hillis and Jeff Lee and Shameless or Chris Keel, I should say, Frank Miller, any of that bunch can correct me on that. Now, as former tire builders, me and Deanna would always be riding down the road, and we'll still kid to this day going, boy, I wonder who built that tire. But, you know, we'd say that in jest because we knew from being out there so long what it took to build a tire. A lot of folks think that building a tire is like the old Porky Pig cartoon where they get a bunch of melted rubber and they just pour it out of a big old vat into like a donut maker, and you know, a few minutes later tire pops out. But the tire building process is 1,000% about the details. It starts with the raw materials. They have on-site lab at Bridgestone, I know, and I'm sure they got them everywhere else, that test the raw material when it comes in the door. When they mix the rubber, they're taking tests. They're taking tests of the compounds that go into the rubber mix. They're testing the wire that goes into the belts that makes the tires. Then they go in and they test the actual material once it comes out of a department called stock cutting and Banbury, where they actually take samples of the tread that's being made, the inner liner that's being made, the 1, 2, 3, and 4 belt that's being made, the wire reinforce that's being made, the beads, which is a very important part of your tire that actually holds the tire onto your wheel, and you know, the sidewall. They check all that. Then when you're building a tire, they'll come get a green tire, and a green tire is just, you know, the machines put all those parts together, and they'll come get one that's not been through the mold, it's not been cured out, so it looks like a round donut, really like the Porky Pig cartoon, but it's just not been cured out yet. And they'll check one of those. They'll check not one. They'll check those tires at random. You never know. And then once it goes to the curing department and final inspection and all that, then a different lab comes and gets a finished tire, and they'll put it in a machine, and it'll run that tire at, you know, interstate speeds 24/7 in a room. It's a real thick protected room. I got to see the room, never went in the room, but they run that tire at pressure 24/7 until that tire explodes. So they could document everything, and it's under camera. It's under camera watch, so they're documenting every second of that tire. As employees, we had to document anytime our machine was down, anytime we got abnormal material, anytime we actually, in one of the supporting departments before I got into tire room, we had to document if we made a bad product, how much scrap we had, what did it weigh, how much did we lose, any corrections that setup had to make, any corrections that maintenance had to make. That all had to be documented, every detail in place. But it wasn't in place just to say, hey, you know, we want to get on to you for having downtime. It was in place because Bridgestone is known globally as a great, great tire manufacturer. Now, this is not a Bridgestone commercial, but, you know, we could not settle for disappointment, because if we had something get out of our facility, the tires we were building were helping support those. Oh, I'm sorry, Ronald. Don't forget the X-ray. Yes, they X-ray our belts. They X-ray our tires. That's right. I forgot about that. It's been 12 years. Give me a break. It's been longer than that. 15. I don't know. It's been a while. But anyway, yes, they do X-ray the tires for everything. But you know what we're building is one support on a foundation of an 18-wheeler or a huge dump truck that is supporting thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds. 80,000 pound truck driving, 55 to 70 miles an hour. Let's don't break speed limit on the interstate, literally 5 feet from you. 5 feet away is what it is if you do the math. And sometimes you're driving a little too close to them. Sometimes they drive a little too close to you. It just works out that way. But 5 feet away from you and your family is one tire that maybe somebody didn't follow the details or Bridgestone didn't follow their details, which they do. I'm not saying they don't. Don't misunderstand me. I don't need any people that aren't listening right. But let's pretend Bridgestone and Michelin and Goodyear didn't have all those protocols and details following. It's just people, hey, let's slap some tires together. 80,000 pounds riding right next to your family. If it was to blow out and that truck was to turn over and all that, that's where these companies look at, safety. That's where they look at their process, and that's where they look at the details. It's the details that count. Mark Browning's watching right now. Bless his heart. Mark's been there a long time. Mark's been there. He worked his way up. He's in the plant. He does awesome stuff there. He's probably correct in everything I'm saying, shaking his head going, Drew, that ain't right no more. But, the details are there for a reason. The details are to keep the product good. The details are there to keep the product safe. The details are there to keep quality the same, where it doesn't matter which tire you buy this one or you buy one 5 years from now. That quality is going to be there. Companies like Bridgestone, Goodyear, Michelin, they didn't get there by having fluctuating quality, and they didn't get there by having, every third tire blowing up on the interstate. So Phil Estes told us one time, Bridgestone has a funny speed limit when you go into the facility, and I don't remember what it is. I think it's 9 miles an hour. Somebody can correct me. But and one of the guys in the plant, we had these plant-wide meetings, and one of the gentlemen, he said, we're at 99%. He said, 99% is pretty good. Why can't we live with 99% of quality versus scrap? And Phil made a really good point. He said, let's say we got 26 miles an hour. Okay, I knew it was something weird. 26 miles an hour, not 25, and they made it 26 so you'd notice. But 99% is pretty good. He said, okay, let's pretend we've got 1,000 people coming in and out of the plant every day. So 1,000 people. He said, and 1% of those people every day run into our guard shack. How many accidents are we going to have a month of just people running into the guard shack because 1% can't make it in correctly? That stuck with me. I don't know why it stuck with me so hard, but it did. And so they expected 100% every time, and they had the steps in place to make sure if you did what you were supposed to do and the material was the way it was supposed to be, you could have a super duper quality product. My dad just had his 70th birthday, and as long as I can remember, he would always tell me, hey, if you're going to do something, do it right. I can remember when I first started working with my dad, we would actually, equipment, we sold typewriters and calculators and time clocks and things like that. And when we would physically clean the machine, because back then there were still some mechanics involved in a lot of that. So even when we would clean the machine under normal light and it would look spotlessly clean to me when I was first learning, Dad would take it out into the sunlight, and the sunlight would show places I'd missed. And, it's funny what light will bring to notice what versus sunlight versus natural light, what you can see that you can't always see. So, you know, and that's where he would always stress again, even as I was an older teenager and adult, if you're going to do something, do it right. And I always hated that so much. Oh, and I always swore I'd never say that to Ethan, but I was wrong. Because I tell him all the time that details matter. You know, I tell him just like, you know, if you can't do the little things right, you can't do the big things. But, but we shouldn't be trying to start on a big thing anyway. We should work on the baby steps. Sorry, I just kicked my camera. We should work on the baby steps and get our legs underneath us and, you know, get the knowledge we need to succeed. When you walk into Bridgestone, I guarantee anybody that walks into Bridgestone on that floor has no idea what they're doing. First thing they did was they sent me to a creel room. I had no idea what a creel room was. The next thing I ran was a hex winder. I had no idea what a hex winder was. Then we had the DSB, and anybody that works at Bridgestone can feel free to put in there what DSB stands for inside the plant, but I'm not going to say it on this video. But anyway, then I went to Cutter 2, which was a belt cutter. Then I went to the Profile Calendar, which was a hot process also. Then I finally went to tire room and actually got to assemble tires. Deanna was in the tire room the whole entire time. But, you know, when you go in there, they put somebody to train you, and they train you how to do the most minute stuff first. Hey, reach and grab this. Anybody can reach and grab this. Then you start problem solving. If something goes wrong, then they show you how to fix that. If something needs adjusting, then they show you how to get that. You communicate with your maintenance guys when something goes wrong, because they'll show you how to fix stuff yourself, which decreases your downtime and increases your quality. But it all starts with baby steps, and it all starts with you. Once again, you know this is going to be about you, but, you know, I tell people a lot, you know, if you're down, don't stay down. Just sit up. Just get enough in your guts to sit up. If you're sitting and you've been sitting for a while, stand up. And if you're already standing up, but you're just standing still, move forward and keep moving forward and keep moving forward and keep moving forward. But we got to start with the details, because you need to do something today. That's my challenge to you, that you do something today this much better than you did yesterday. Because you can do it, but it's still up to you to do it.